Hi Canon, thanks for agreeing to speak to us this morning. So I have some questions and we're just hoping you can answer these so that people get to know you a wee bit better as we approach your 90th birthday. So who is the most important person that you've ever met?
I suppose the most important person is Pope John Paul II. I was in Rome with a group of apostolic workers. We were celebrating the 70th anniversary of the apostolic work, along with some Knights of Columbus. And myself and Father Sean Connolly had special tickets for the front row of the audience with the Pope. So he was coming along to speak to all of us. And I thought I'd speak to him in Latin. And I said, Sacerdos Habebernius Sum Sancti Pater. I'm a priest from Ireland, Holy Father. But he answered me in English. And he said, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Belfast. And he said, oh dear, God bless you. And then he made the sign of the cross on my forehead.
So Canon, can you tell me, what's your favourite food?
Well, if I'm out for a meal or anything like that, and normally I take what's set in front of me, but if I'm out for a meal, I'm most likely ask for fish. I'm very fond of fish, of various kinds of fish.
And what about if you were selecting a treat? What would be your favourite treat?
My favourite treat is chocolate. I'm very fond of it. I don't know whether I should advertise on this, but I'm very fond of Galaxy chocolate.
Oh, lovely, lovely. And can I ask you what's your favourite drink?
Well, of my recent years it's been wine. And that's actually, there's a story there. I didn't drink alcohol at all until I was in my mid-50s. And one of my favourite holidays is doing what they call fly drive, flying to a country, hiring a car and driving around. Like we'd pick out a route, and some of my friends, in this particular case, I was with just one other priest. And we'd do our own light lunch, maybe have a little camp stove, make soup for packs of soup, and then we'd have fruit and a coffee and bread. But in the evening we would, whatever time we were in, we'd have a good meal in the evening. But one evening in a little town in the north of Italy, we were going back to our hotel, having had our meal, and we passed an ice cream place. We decided we'd go in for an ice cream, and it turned out we were the only customers. And the family who ran the ice cream shop were having a party. So when the man brought us our ice cream, he came back with 2 glasses and poured out 2 glasses of wine. They were little liqueur glasses, but anyway, I said to my friend, even if our Italians stretched to telling these people that we didn't drink wine, they still wouldn't understand. They're Italians. So I said, charity is more important than temperance. I said, I'm going to drink this. But my friend was a very strong pioneer, a little gold ring round his badge, and he wouldn't. So I drank mine and was swapped over and was drinking his, and the man saw his empty and filled his again. So I had 3. Now there were 3 little liqueur glasses, so the 3 of them would have made one glass. And it was Marsala wine, which I discovered out was a Swedish wine, which was quite a nice one. So I thought, this is quite nice stuff. And it wasn't that I started buying it, but when I was out at a function and there was wine, I would take a glass. But then, around about 25 years ago, it was on the news that red wine is good for your heart. And I have angina, have 3 stents in. So I went to the doctor and I asked him, was this true? And he said yes. And he said, take a glass of red wine every night, which I do. And I'm very fond of it.
And you enjoy it, lovely. So Canon, I'm just wondering, I know that you're a great traveller and you love going on holiday. I'm just wondering, what's your favourite country or countries?
I'm not sure that I have a favourite country, but the countries that I've travelled in, I've liked them all. As I was saying there, we, myself and some of my colleagues, used to do a lot of fly drive holidays for many, many years. And we've driven all around France, Spain, Portugal, Italy. and south of Germany and Austria, and I mean, we've seen a lot. I suppose now, coming to think of it, if I were to go back, the country that I liked best was the Austrian Tyrol. It's lovely. The mountains aren't as high as Switzerland, but there's something about them. It's just, I don't know why. I can't really explain it, but that's what really touched me. I mean, and I was there several times. And apart from the mountain, the scenery, and that, there's some lovely cities. There's Salzburg and Innsbruck, which are beautiful.
Lovely, lovely. And Canon, do you have another language?
Well, I learned Irish at school, but I'm afraid it's not as, we haven't kept it up. And learned Latin, of course. I was able to speak to the Pope in Latin. And I still would have a fair amount of Latin. But the other language, no, I would have a smattering of various languages. I can get past in
enough
France.
To get by.
And the first time I was in Germany, we had to learn a few phrases in German and that, you know. But enough to get me past in hotels and things like that. I couldn't carry on a conversation.
But order an ice cream or a nice glass of red wine.
Well, precisely.
So Canon, when you were younger, did you have any hobbies?
I was very fond of reading. I was always a voracious reader. One of my earliest memories, round about the time I started school, was going with my father to the library. And I remember the first books we got out were books of Irish mythology, Cuchulainn, The Children of Lear, Finn McCool, that kind of thing. Then I went on, and there used to comics. There was. I was still very young, primary school. There was a Dandy and the Vino, but I really progressed in. They were more like boys' magazines and comics because there weren't any pictures in them. There were two came out each week, and I was very fond of reading them. There was the Hotspur and the Wizard and the Adventure and the Rover, but they were full of stories about boys and that.
And their adventures.
Adventure stories.
And Canon, do you still read now?
I do, not as much. Over the years, I read a lot of detective books and thrillers and that kind of thing. But I became very fond of history, and I like reading, and I still would. Now, I can't. Unfortunately, old age has got the better of me. I find it more difficult to concentrate on books now. Even reading the paper, if I read a paragraph, my mind goes off a mile away. But if there's a good history programme on television, for instance, I would watch that. Right. But I would still keep up with my reading, all right, yes.
Okay. So, Canon, I was just wondering, how many parishes have you been in, and also have you done anything else other than being a priest?
Well, I have. I started off as chaplain to Fort William Convent, and I lived up at St Teresa's. There was a Father Brady there at the time. I helped in the parish. I actually had two little sidelines. I was chaplain to the deaf, and I was also spiritual director to Lisa Mary, who ran a mothers and babies home Mater Dei on the Antrim Road. And then from there I went to Bangor. I was 13 years in Bangor. Then St Bridget's on the Malone Road, St Bernadette's, then Holy Rosary, where I became parish priest, and then Downpatrick, and then I had a slight stroke. I was around 74, and I said to the bishop that maybe retire from being parish priest, but go somewhere as a curate. And he sent me to Holy Family, where I started off, and I've been 16 years here now. And I must say, I've enjoyed it all. And I've enjoyed coming back to Holy Family.
Brilliant.
And meeting some people that I hadn't met for 50 odd years.
And Canon, you did some other interesting work.
Yes, I was always I was spiritual director to Apostolic Work for many years. And that's where because of that I met the Pope. But I was also very involved in ecumenism. I was at one point chairman of the Diocesan Ecumenical Commission, and I was also diocesan consultant for mixed marriages, and on 4 different occasions, I was what was officially known as an official visitor to the Church of Ireland Synod, which was very interesting, I must say. And as a partly as of that, I was once asked to go with a Presbyterian minister with whom I'd become very friendly. As it happened, there was a scheme on, I think it was organised really by the Presbyterian Church in America, for a Catholic priest and a Presbyterian minister to go to America to talk to people there about the situation here in Northern Ireland. And as I say, I was asked to go, and I was told, when I asked who the Presbyterian minister was, turned out it was a very good friend of mine, Reverend David Lapsley. There was one pair would go in May and the other would go in September. So it went on for several years, and we started off in Philadelphia. We were there for a week, and then we went on to Atlanta, Georgia. We were there for 5 days, and then we were on to Birmingham, Alabama. Right. And it was interesting. There was a large Irish American contingent in Philadelphia. There were several hundred people at one time, and they had wrong ideas about the situation here. They had some ideas, but some of them were wrong. In Atlanta and in Birmingham, they had no ideas at all. We talked to children in school, senior children, senior, not boys and girls, and I would go into the history of the situation in Northern Ireland, the plantation, and how it had come to have 2 separate communities, etc. And they would talk about modern conditions. And then actually we were on a television we were the guest of Presbyterians in Philadelphia and in Atlanta, but in Birmingham we were the guest of the Catholic bishop who was from Ireland, and we lived in the Brooklyn House beside the cathedral. And it was there the places where we were in Philadelphia and Atlanta, there were hardly any coloured people, coloured people, black people. But then African Americans. And but in Birmingham, there was quite a lot. There was a school attached to the cathedral, and there was quite a lot of children in it. But the bishop there had organised it for us to give a talk to clergy. Now, the clergy that came were Episcopalian, Presbyterian, Methodists, but between them and the Catholic, we only amounted to about 10% of the population. The rest were what they call Southern Baptist, and they didn't come. Right. And well, a few African American clergy came. But anyway, we were on EWTN, which had been started by a Mother Angelica. Yes. And we met. Yes, I met the Pope, but dear me, Mother Angelica was something else again. She was a very remarkable woman, I must say, when I think about her. It was a programme an hour long, and it broken by adverts, and she was completely unscripted. But she had that audience eaten out of her hand in about 3 minutes. It was amazing. Yeah. And she, then David and I, there was a priest there who asked us questions, and then there was another break, and then we were asked questions by telephone from people. People rang in, and then at the end, then Mother Angelica wound up. And that was a very remarkable experience, I must say.
So Canon, your 90th birthday is just around the corner. I'm just wondering how you feel about that, and if you're looking forward to the big parish celebration planned for this Sunday.
Well, I must say, Father Strain has gone out of his way, and it's very nice. It's a wee bit overwhelming, to be quite honest. My own family are having one on the day itself, actually, and there's been several, some of the teachers in Holy Family School have invited me out this afternoon, for instance. Lovely. So, quite frankly, when I was young, I never thought I'd make it. Yeah. And it's a bit of a surprise that I have so far. I can still be knocked down by a bus, but so, and I'm feeling well, actually.
Good.
But
And you've lots of nice plans for the coming weeks in the lead up to your birthday.
yes, as I said, it's a bit overwhelming, the number of things, but it is. I mean, I appreciate it very much indeed, I must say. And as I said, I'm looking forward. My sister had a big one for a family one for a cousin also on my 80th birthday. Well, unfortunately, my sister has since died, but nephews and nieces are organising one, not just so big as hers, but at the same time, my nephews and nieces and on the day itself, the 22nd.
Lovely. Well, thanks so much, Canon, and a big happy 90th birthday for the 27th. Thank you.
His holy name, sing like never before. Oh, my soul, I worship your holy name.
Tomorrow is Pancake Tuesday. We call it Pancake Tuesday because all the fatty and meaty foods are used up and put into pancakes before the fasting of Lent. It used to be called also Shrove Tuesday, from the old word to shrive, meaning to give absolution after hearing confession. In other countries, for instance in Italy, it's called Carnival, Carnivale, farewell to meat. In New Orleans, in America, it's called Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. It's a reminder to us that we have to put away our rich foods in order to fast and abstain during Lent. And now I'm going to try to toss my pancake, and want all you lot to try and toss your pancakes at the same time. I was at a function once, and Bishop Walsh quoted a statement by Hilaire Belloc, where he would have written it in the 30s, I think, which would have meant when most of the wine came from Southern Europe. But he said, "Wherever the Catholic sun doth shine, there is wit, laughter, and good red wine. At least I've always found it so. Benedicamus Domino." Let us bless the Lord.